Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this breakfast seminar. Notice it's a seminar, but without the breakfast. But we hope you actually got some coffee or tea in arriving. As hopefully you've seen the details before, my name's Kevin Hart from Sage. I'm also pleased to say I'm joined here today by a colleague here, Matt Tooley, with the technology. Thank you, Jim. So Matt's here from a local enterprise agency, really to actually give you advice. Matt, I'd be happy to sort of take questions as we actually go through. And really today's really just all about sharing with you what we do actually trying to do as Sage to actually help businesses both get into business, so prospective businesses, and also existing businesses, actually help you sort of plan for your business. Can I just do a quick show of hands? How many here today are actually not yet in business but looking to start up? Thank you. Well, we'll definitely address yours. And so, I take it the rest of you are in business? I think would be a fair assumption. This really is to actually assist you, and especially in these trying times, effectively what tools and assistance we can provide so you can actually look, because we know a lot of businesses are currently, they've gone through the startup, and they're actually into looking to sort of grow, hopefully, diversify. We know there's also survive, talking to a couple of you earlier with some of the challenges in the current climate, and actually some businesses looking to exit. And in all these stages, we found that we work obviously with a lot of businesses. As I'm sure you've seen, we've got some 850,000 business customers now in the UK. We often get a sort of feedback as actually to assistance that's required here. So we've basically brought to market a product called Planning for Business. So I make no apologies that I'm actually going to sort of share with you products, but the reason I'm doing that is actually hopefully helps you empathise with, and our empathy with you as to how this actually helps you. So really we've got tools in here to help you, and actually we've got people to help you. I say Matt and has got some colleagues here from the local sort of enterprise areas, really sort of servicing this economy as well. So let me just say part of that empathy is as far as your journey as an entrepreneur, which is orientated in this slide to startup, but it applies to actually almost any business, especially if you're thinking about changing your business, about taking it. We know that there are stages you actually go through. There's a lot of thought that goes into this, and unfortunately there's not always enough quality time for thoughts. And effectively getting on to changing your plan. We speak to many customers who find that actually they didn't have a business plan in the first place. Got a classic sort of, inherited a business without actually a robust plan. And if they're looking to diversify, looking for guidance, perhaps looking for funding, they actually need to take some sort of plan to those areas. And obviously getting up and trading, but most importantly, is also reviewing how are you doing against where you thought you would be. And I say, this is, please believe me, these are really tools to assist you. We can't say that we've got the domain knowledge for every single business, but what we've done is we've brought together an offering called Planning for Business. And that really allows you to run through, and it links up closely with all of the stages that you go through, either to sort of looking to grow your business, change your business, exit it, or actually start up in a business. And what we found as well is that obviously when people need to get starting up, or speaking to some of you earlier, you're actually using sort of manual bookkeeping services, actually cash books, and looking to actually automate. We've got a number of offerings that allow you to do that. I'm just going to show you one of them today. It's called Sage Startup. We've also got something called Sage One, if you actually want a web-based service. That's our latest development. And we've also got an offering called Sage Instant, if you've got more complex needs. But basically, for example, Sage Startup allows you to manage your money, manage your customers, manage your suppliers, with no knowledge required for bookkeeping. Yeah, so that's really quite critical. The beauty with this is that if you're doing through a planning and you actually want to then move into getting up and running, you can basically click a button and it actually helps you get up and trading straight away. But most importantly, actually it helps you identify how you're progressing with your business against your plan. Yeah? Which again we find we're speaking to many advisors This is something that they're looking for, and talking to the banks as well, when and if you talk to the banks. And we know on average at the moment, 85% of people are actually funding their businesses from somewhere other than the banks. That's the latest research, which is quite an astonishing figure, especially when the banks are waxing lyrical about Project Merlin and the some sort of 13 million plus they're making available. So when we talk about this, we look at pain points. And pain points, all the research we've done with customers, so one of the pain points is that, well, look, Kevin, I've got to go out, I'm searching the web for information, for templates, talking with Matt and his enterprise agent and colleagues. This is what people are having to do, trying to find all this information and put it all together in one place. And then it's how do you manage all this information? You know, you've got bookmarks on your web pages, you've got someone sent you an email, you've got documents, PDFs. How do you actually put all this together? And also, finally, if you're looking to expand your business, grow your business, even exit or start up, you actually also need to run sort of what-if scenarios. Yeah? What if the government pulled tax relief for individuals? What is that going to happen? I might want to do a sort of, this is the most optimistic view of my business, and this is probably the worst case, and maybe this is the sort of medium case. So businesses tell us these are the real pain points they actually have. So consequently, you won't be surprised, and I'll make no apologies, that I'm going to show you bits of a product here, which is something called Planning for Business. And it really is designed for startups, but also applying to businesses at all their life stages. It was designed with small businesses, with advisors, with accountants, with banks, to be effectively the one-stop shop solution. It supports the whole idea, really from this germ of an idea, or we want to change the business, we have to run this through. And the beauty is you can run this at your own pace. Yeah? And I think there are still some courses available, fair to say, Matt, isn't it, where you actually timetable to a course. If you go on a particular course for certain skill sets, you'll see in a moment how you can timetable this to those courses. And I say it's a single store for all of your information, because that's a key pain point. And most importantly, behind the scenes, this builds a highly credible business plan. Because no one really gets out of bed to write a business plan. Yeah? And you're going to say no one gets out of bed to do their accounts. Yeah? But it needs to be done. So really, hopefully, as I take you through this, you'll see how they actually produce this business plan. I say you can do multiple plans, do as many plans as you like from this. And I say you can get up and trading really easily, but most important, make sure your finances are on track as you go through this. I say it's a tool with support, and let's be clear, it is not the nirvana to help you in your business. You will still need, I'm sure, specific tailored advice, and therefore this complements this. And we found from many advisors, many accountants, bookkeepers, they say fantastic. It brings a sort of structure to the operation. A little bit of background is that for my sins, I basically led the development of this. I'm responsible for our strategic relationships within Sage, with banks, with government, with other really important third parties. And we found that there was a real gap in the market that businesses and startups were really looking for. As I'm sure you know, you can go to the different banks and you can get sort of spreadsheets and templates and stuff on the web, but there didn't seem to be a solution where you can pull all this together. And the real business planning solutions we found actually, we felt were actually very expensive and very complex. There doesn't seem to be anything really to address that from pre-start to existing business. But feel free to challenge us if we've missed something here. So let me just quickly give you a whistle-stop tour of the offering. When you start up, it asks you, I think it's 7 simple questions, and it actually configures the offering depending on your question. And there's some simple sort of nice little videos and sort of tutorials just to help you going. And in essence, it runs a very simple structure. So in the sort of red outline, basically, these are the stages you would need to go through. And you would all already seen a little sort of tutorial. So the way you can see it's structured here, so you can see, for example, it talks about learn and organize. So basically, what do you need to learn? Yeah? And we also know, working obviously with a number of startups, that some of the challenges, you don't necessarily know what you don't know. So we found this actually, they find this incredibly valuable. So for example, you're ready to start your business. Here's a little bit of introduction. Where are you going to go into? So What we've also provided tools is saying, well, if you're going to get into this space, would you like to understand how you benchmark against others? So let's be really aggressive. I think we're talking construction, architects, construction sector. For example, I'm going to go into this mode and look in a plastering operation. It gives you a breakdown of, first of all, it gives you the average turnover for a plasterer. Now, this is the latest national statistics. Clearly, maybe as a small business or a startup, you may not necessarily be running at that high figure from a revenue, but it gives you all of the levels of areas of expenditure you would expect to incur, and therefore gives you as a percentage of your turnover and actually an average cost. But you can quickly go in and say, well, actually, I think we're probably going to earn whatever, 30,000, 20,000 in the year, and it will refresh with all those percentages of your turnover. So it starts to, first of all, give you an idea of actually, some of the costs you might be looking to incur. Secondly, and I'd argue even most importantly, is if you're looking to actually start up or change your business or dramatically, are you cognizant of what your own personal costs are? Yeah? So if we're not preaching to the converted, please. We're just trying to bring tools using the latest statistics of all of the areas of personal cost. So, for example, two adults and 3 children could occur. And yes, I think your next question is, can I change them? You actually can. Personally, I don't smoke, but I think my alcoholic consumption might be a bit higher than the average. So my secret's safe, I'm sure. Then it actually says, okay, so you want to go into a business, and I appreciate this is more for startups, so please bear with me, existing business. But if you want to actually register your name, as you see, there's a Learn tab here. So Learn says, decide and register on name. So what's all this about, registering for a business? So it talks you through, provides you with useful links as well, which it actually drives through within the product. It links out, like, for example, Business Link as well. So there's an impartiality in here as well. It's not just Sage. We look for the best sources of information to support this. So once you've learned about it, it then says, okay, you really need to get on and actually do it. But you may have existing tensions within your existing business, other employment, other personal circumstances. So you need to decide when you're going to do this. So you can just basically say, I think I'm going to start then. I'm actually going to aim to finish then. And you might just put some sort of notes to self in here about that. And you can actually change it when you've actually done the work. To answer your next question, hopefully, yes, and there's also an inbuilt diary. So you can see at a glance what are the things you're needing to be doing now, yeah, and over the next month or week or whichever you like to send. And you can actually output this to Microsoft Outlook as well. So, yeah, again, hopefully help you actually plan for this area. And with any sort of process you're going to run, a bit like I always say, if you're applying online for insurance, yeah, you actually want to know where you are in the process. So we've got a sort of a running bar that actually basically says, well, what haven't you started, what's in progress, what have you completed, and what's actually not applicable to you. And because I've done such a sterling job, obviously I've completed so much of this. But in reality, that gives you a real check. And if you're not sure, so that's the top level, and you can actually see the particular areas. So when you're working with, you're working with advisors and colleagues, they can also guide you in an area where you might want to sort of focus your energies as well. So we've now just moved on, and we're actually saying, okay, you've learnt about it, you've planned it, you've organised it, now you need to action it and get on with it. So you click on the business details form, and again, I appreciate with your existing businesses, but it may be you can just quickly pre-populate this. So it takes all the information, it takes the questionnaire that you used earlier, sets all that up, explains information in here about VAT and all the implications there. But as I said, a number of you here are existing businesses, you might say, well, yeah, Kevin, we know all this. Yeah, we've felt the pain. We've been through this. So you can actually go straight on to quick plan links. Quick plan links just allows you to then go through this and pre-populate the information if you want just to build your plan for your own benefits as a business. As I say, speaking to a number of you earlier, you're looking to get into changing the business. So there's a quick route in. But it doesn't mean to say you can't actually look at all the support information. So here's like an example of products and services. So I'm in construction. I've actually set out that I've got a number of areas within construction I'm actually going to be building. I'm actually going to be delivering conservatories, garages, plumbing, etc. Again, what we've got now is you've done the learn, we've given you an overview, now you're putting the data in, but we also provide worked examples. So if you're really not quite sure what this means, how to do it. So this, I've effectively worked through a little here, but we've actually, for each category, so I'm saying here, for conservatories and brickwork, I'm preparing all the groundwork, foundations, building, including fittings with sockets and light switches. Because effectively, that's your product or that's your service in this case. We also give information and ability to look at sales price, cost price, all information, and you can do a real detailed breakdown of this as well. So I use, if you go into like Auto Trader, I use the example. Many of you buy a car online, or certainly use Auto Trader. In Auto Trader, you can say, I want a Golf this year, this money, find me them, yes? Or I want a Golf GTI, red, yeah, alloys, extra large wheels, da-da-da-da-da. So you can actually do like an advanced search. This gives you the ability to do the level of advancements. And another big area is then, okay, we've helped you early on. I'll fast track through this, but we've helped you then identify who your customers are. So now we've identified our customers are a mixture of work during the day, council, contract, and of course we've got some evening and weekend work, which of course is fully audited, yeah, through here. But here we've got like contract work, and with the contract work, here are the different contractors that we've actually managed to sort of sign up. So you're putting all the information in here as you're building, and this could be your existing business, and you can do a version which is your new business or your enhanced business. And then, most importantly, one could suggest is, okay, so what's my sales forecast going to look like? So once again, we've got the learn, give you an overview, give you some worked up examples, and then you get into actually filling this out. And this is a simple 4-step process, which I've actually gone through to a further step just to illustrate what it can actually use. You can do any seasonality in here as well, so it can cope with that. This can also cope with you as, what your preferences are. If your desire is actually more lifestyle or more rapid growth or whatever suits you, you can actually modify this to your own benefit. But if you've got, again, working with lots of advisors and accountants, bookkeepers, banks, if you're going to anyone for real advice and perhaps exiting, or not sorry, NS exiting, but certainly for funding perspective, they want to see a 3-year plan. This has a built-in 3-year plan within this as well, which you can basically say copy year 1 and you can just necessarily hopefully add greater amounts as that trades through. So, and it gives you all the guidance and help to actually do a sort of sales forecast. Behind the scenes, remember I said it was covertly building this business plan. All I've done in this business plan is I've just loaded a couple of high quality images, yeah, just to do sort of the front sheet of this business plan. But the business plan automatically builds a table of contents, and this is, from all the research and everyone we've tested, is the highest quality business plan because of the way it's structured and all of the contents with this. We've got an initiative with Lloyds TSB I'll come back towards at the end, which is why you see Lloyds TSB here as well. And if any of you have got involved with going to local advisors, like Matt, we're talking about Prince's Trust, they often use a lot of their documentation. This was also a baseline here, because Prince's Trust is probably one of the best and highly recognised formats for this type of document. It automatically presents some nice graphs, yes? So you can actually take your data, and most importantly, it gives you the classic cash flow, balance sheet, and P&L for 3 years, yeah? And this is what accountants love, yeah? Yeah, they just skip all the pages and just go to the back and actually just run through. But they can actually, because they're just so in tune, they can actually go through and see this, perhaps looking at the first page. And the beauty with this plan is that you can save this saves straight to a Word document or a PDF. So you can actually email this to friends, advisors, peers, family, just to get all their input. Yeah? because then actually you may find yourself also down the pub, which is a fertile ground for doing this sort of work. They take a look at this and they say, Kevin, year 2 is not good enough. If you're really looking for funding, you need to actually up this. So through the business plan, you can go straight back into the core data and change all the data. So that's a very whistle-stop tour of the business plan. Yeah? From there, we're then actually, for those that are interested in either sort of starting up or indeed automating your business, what we developed is the ability to use certainly 2 of our products, Sage Instant and Sage Startup. So it actually pre-populates those products with the key information you've already put into your business plan, because nobody likes to read key information in. Yeah? Especially got computers, they should do this for you, shouldn't they? So we're now into, probably can't quite see in the top left, but Sage Startup. And if you might have noticed, we were BB Builders in Newcastle upon Tyne, which is where I'm based, as you can tell from the accent. Yeah? And it automatically says, fulfill this information. And this is Sage Startup. And Sage Startup, this is here, you're in, you can basically set up my cash business, my checks, invoice, receipt-based business. Whatever your type of business, it will adapt to your business. So for example here, it's got a simple thing called money in, yeah, which is always very useful. So if you're bringing money in and you actually want to raise a quotation, yeah, what you would do is you would just click on the button, yeah, raise quotation. That would take some of the categories that you've already put in through your business plan and actually allows you to do a simple drop down and build a quotation. You can obviously put more products in as well, because your business will morph and change as that goes through. So it's a very simple product. Money going out, so it's a very similar sort of thing. Yeah, you've just got nice simple sort of radio buttons, so you just click on there. For example, this is an invoice-based company, so you click on invoice, and it would do very much as you've just seen from a quotation. And you can just build that as you go through. One thing that sort of Sage Startup is also very popular with is the fact that at a glance, you can see what is your cash position as a business. So, for example, it's actually telling you that from the latest point you reconciled against your bank, what money's in your bank. But the next line, it says undeposited funds. Because what we found out in so much of our research, it's amazing with a number of businesses how tardy they are in necessarily banking the money they've got. Yeah? Even in these tough times, it's quite amazing. Yeah? Because it's almost like it's a bit of admin, really. So what this does is this actually highlights to you how much money you've got undeposited, you've not yet banked. Yeah? But it also highlights how much money is owed to you by your customers. Now, you've got a classic situation at the moment. As you can see, we're actually in a negative situation in the bank, and we're probably knocking on the overdraft limit. So I suddenly need to chase my money. You can go look at the right-hand side, and it will tell you in chronological order what invoices are due. So we can see here, and I must say, this is fictitious. Yeah? So we have a certain city council here, invoice is due. You then say, okay, I need to pick up the phone to somebody. Who's my best customer? And you can see, well, actually, that council happens to be my second best customer. Yeah? So actually, I think I should be able to pick the phone up to them, yeah? And actually bring that money in quickly. So it's really, again, it's tools to actually help you manage your business. And finally, there's like a dynamic pie chart that just shows you what your most popular products and services are. So, again, that's really planning for business. Remember I said earlier about businesses not necessarily checking to see where they're at and about how am I progressing against the plan. You go straight on to planning for business. So on the top left-hand corner, I've highlighted that this is now planning for business. Look at, okay, what trading period do I want to look at? And it immediately says, here's a bunch of reports for you to look at, and a very simple report, which we call effectively the business health check. Money in, money out, work, sales, cash assets. Money in, you were projected at this point, yeah, to have actually done 61,267 sales. You've only done 15,180. Might want to sort of raise a few alarm bells. But it's really there, it's a tool to help you sort of manage your business. How am I doing against where I thought I was really at? And there are also options to present this graphically, some nice sort of simple graphs. And also, it gives you the ability in these figures down the bottom to do drill downs, so you can actually see more detail. And which we found, again, in our research, a lot of small businesses, you know, friends, families, peers, advisors, can actually help them as well, because they're not necessarily understanding, well, okay, what's happening here? So this presents the information in a user-friendly format, but also with a drill down. So it was a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but hopefully you agree that this is really more of a one-stop shop for your business, and it really does flex to your needs. I've featured from managing your money. We've looked at Sage Startup. There's also Sage Instant, and here today as well we've got, say, this relatively brand new offering, which is the web-based called Sage One as well. So we've now got just a few minutes to sort of take any questions. What I would stress is that we've got, certainly Matt will be over in the startup zone, which as you came in faced you with some laptops. The product planning for business is available over the web. And as you may well know from being here today, that entitles you to sort of 10% discount off the web shop. Planning for business, I think it's £25, so less 10% on here. And as I say, we've got the other products, Startup, Sage One, etc. If you're with Lloyds TSB, then you can actually get planning for business through Lloyds TSB. And I think, you know, at the moment, I think they're doing it free for some of their customers. So that's something worth looking at as well. But obviously, if you then purchase it through the web shop, you've then got access to all the other sort of Sage products and services. So I'm going to come off transmit now. And thank you for your time. Is there any questions at all, please? Who's across out the pillar? Sorry, yes, sir. You
said it was £25 to purchase. Did I hear you right?
Yes, for planning for business. Yeah. I say straight off the web, less 10% by being here today. Yeah. And you can see the other products. I would certainly recommend you to also look at, look at the products, say Sage One for actually managing your business. That's a new offering. If you particularly want web-based services as well, extremely flexible. So hopefully I've given you a sort of a taster of actually some of these offerings and hopefully how it may apply to your business. Certainly I'm here for the rest of today, and as is Matt, here for any questions. No takers, any other questions? Well, can I say thank you very much for your time. Good luck with your ventures and have a good day today. Thank you.